One tip they gave us was if you're going to St. Petersburg or to the mission in the summer, don't get any winter clothes because you can get it there. It's better to buy your winter clothes there because like your jacket and your boots are especially made for Russia. One tip is to get fur-lined boots. Make sure that there's fur inside your boots because that will keep you warm. Another tip that I didn't realize until like halfway through a Russian winter was the more layers you put on, the colder you're going to get. Because there was one point in January where it was so cold that I couldn't feel my face and I couldn't feel my feet or my hands. And I was thinking, well, what can I do to stay warm? So I thought, oh, I'll just add more layers. But what that does is that it constricts your blood flow. And so then you get colder a lot faster. So for example, I wore 2 pairs of wool tights and then a pair of smart wool socks and then a pair of like big wool socks and then my fur-lined boots. But because of that, it just like constricted the blood flow to my feet, and so that's why I couldn't feel my feet because they were so cold. So just be careful about how many layers you put on in the winter. Another thing I did was I would microwave my socks right before I went outside, and so they got warm really quickly, and so I could just stick them on and keep my feet semi-warm before we went outside in the winter. Another thing, drink tea in the winter, because especially right before you go, because it gets your insides warm, and so if you're warm on the inside, you're going to be warm on the outside. Yeah, that's more of weather stuff. Just try and get all your stuff from Russia, and expect to go through a couple pair of boots, because I went through probably 3 pairs of boots in the winter because we walked so much. I wore down my boots. But some people, some sisters, they didn't have to buy any new boots. It just kind of depends on where you go for a pair of boots. But yeah, Russia is very extreme in the weather. So the winter's freezing cold and the summer is super hot. So when you pack, you're gonna have to get both the winter stuff like sweaters and long skirts and thick tights, but then you're gonna have to get like flowy blouses and lighter things for the summer because it's very extreme. Or when you're walking, just be aware of where your bag is, and yeah, especially in crowded places, always keep it in front of you so you know what is going on. Or yeah, always keep your pouch on you. Make sure your passport's with you. Make sure you have your updated paper that shows that you were able to preach in that city. I'm not really picky about shoes, but definitely get very comfortable shoes because you're going to be walking around a lot and you will be getting blisters. My mom, I don't know, she got these shoes at this very random store in Arkansas, but they had memory foam on the bottom and they were just so light and so comfy. I wore them throughout my whole mission. I actually wore them out so much that I duct taped them. I didn't want to get rid of them because they were so comfy. Yeah, and just be aware of the drunk guys. I remember at the beginning of my mission, I didn't know how a drunk man acted, and so if I was sitting there on the bus and then a guy comes to sit next to me and he starts a conversation, I thought, oh, he's so nice, like look, he wants to hear about the gospel. But then my companion would have to like grab me and pull me out, because then they would start like putting their arm around you and playing with your hair and wanting your number, and so just be careful about that. Yeah, try and take notice of how the men act, and if they seem pretty drunk, get out of there. I remember several times, actually a lot, you'll probably hear the word devchonki, and that's the cutesy form of girls. And so when you hear a man yelling that in the middle of the night, across the street, you know he's drunk and you get away. Just be careful, because guys, I don't think guys really understand why we're there. And so they'll ask for your number and they'll want to take you on dates and they'll call you over and over. So I'm not saying don't talk to men, but just be careful. If they start asking for your number and they start saying, let's go do this and this, that shows that they're not interested in the gospel, they're interested in you. And you kind of have to end the conversation there. Yeah, so just be careful about that. Obey the traffic signals, because people in St. Petersburg, they love to speed, and they won't run red lights, but they'll try and beat the light as much as they can. And so just don't cross the street. If it says red, don't cross the street. Cross the street when it says green. Obey the traffic laws.